And hi, guys, hi, and welcome to this live show, live discussion, and review of the last episode of Game of Thrones series finale, episode 6. And yeah, I was about to talk about the whole show, but never mind. Now we're gonna talk about it anyways. And with me is my longtime friend, Icy Hilzo.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, with him, a lot of times we discuss so many things that are very interesting, and every time there is a very good discussion. So I hope we can repeat that. And now, first, before we start, guys, because as always, Google Hangouts, I had a lot of difficulty starting this stream. I'm just gonna tune in to the streams, okay, so I can watch your comments, and after that, we're gonna start the discussion itself. So bear with us just for a few seconds. The stream is already
I'm
on,
playing.
which I'm very happy about. Oh boy,
That's
my
weird.
my no, never mind. Yeah, can
Yeah,
you hear me
everything's
still?
okay. Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Okay, that's great.
It's okay.
And we already have comments and everything. Hi, Ivy. Wow, A Gaming. Those guys are fast, and I haven't
And
even.
already they say it was disappointing. That was fast.
Yeah, that was so fast. We haven't started yet with
Okay,
anything.
so I'm probably gonna be on the unpopular side of the discussion tonight.
Well, we do have to have two sides of the coin. Well, that is welcomed. It's welcomed. I'm sure they're gonna say something interesting that's worth thinking about. So, you know. And also, we don't know what I'm going to say actually about everything. It's not sure about
Well, no,
everything.
there are a lot of things we can say about the show, the last episode. I'll be probably on the both sides of the things because if we talk about the season, it's gonna get a lot of crap from me. But anyways,
Well, so you don't think that everything is splendid after
no, no,
all?
no. I like when I told you earlier that I actually liked the last episode. I was talking about the episode, not as a like something separate, not as a finale to the series. If we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about on the on how it ended the whole season, I would shoot it down and burn it alive.
Okay, so we are not like I mean, it's not like we're not on the same page about some of the things.
Yeah, probably we are very much on the same page as 99% of the people who watch Game of Thrones, but we'll see. Like,
Yeah, well, I'm ready to start.
go ahead.
I'm just final postings here
Yeah, okay, sure.
because my current thumbnail that YouTube is making is something like me and something like this because it captured you on one frame. So it's very funny. Okay, I'm ready in 5 seconds, and that's gonna give a chance to for everybody to join and to see the stream
Just as a side
anyways.
note, I love how you put the like the German reference like picture with the army because that's something that has been circling around since the trailer for the last episode aired. So
You mean the
that,
picture of Daenerys?
yeah, in the back with the whole army, this like Hitler, you know.
Ah,
Basically, if you make it black and white and just Photoshop some flags, some Nazi flags, that's it. You have an authentic picture of 1942.
yeah, pretty much nailed it. You mean? Okay, so first, guys. Finally, I can start this. So basically, what I think about the whole season, we have to get out of the way first. Is that this whole season for me started like okay, it was, well, this is Game of Thrones. Well, that is interesting. Well, I'm satisfied with the first episode. It was so cool seeing, all the reunions and stuff. Then after we got to that battle, uh,
Yeah,
things started to progress worse and worse, and I was like, okay, that's not so good. And then I saw so many videos of people that were that were trying to rewritten the show and certain scenes how
Mhm.
they would play out in a lot smarter way that will make
Yeah,
a lot
like
more
the
sense.
battle strategies for episode 2 for the battle, like they actually explain how like incoherent was the whole lineup and everything. But up to like when you, because you said the thing started to progress in a bad way, up to episode 3, like the end of episode 2 was for me the most shocking thing in the whole season.
The end
uh
of episode 2.
yeah, but where Arya kills, like, or was it episode 3? Wait, I'm probably gonna have to correct myself. When did the war end, like the war against the undead? Third, second or third episode?
I'm pretty sure it was actually the fourth.
Sure, no, it wasn't the fourth. The fourth was when Miss Sunday dies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So probably no, it was the second, I think, because the third they actually.
No, 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 it's
No,
not,
okay,
not the
okay, let's
second.
say third. Okay, so
Yeah,
the when you have the Battle of Winterfell, like against the undead, that's a pretty bad lit and a pretty bad paced battle. Like, first of all, throwing the Dothraki with flaming swords. Like, just why did you have that build up? Why did you have that epic build up of the incantation of the flaming swords just so that he gets
Melisandre.
slaughtered? Yeah, that
Appearing
Melisandre
so.
was OP. She actually did a very good job. She actually lit their swords on fire because fire kills the other, and you just throw them and they do nothing, like nothing. They didn't even show them actually killing something. They just got slaughtered. Like they're like, here we have some easy people so you can actually warm up.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah,
talking about the Dothraki here. Is that like they
yeah, like
sent
the
Boy
like
Scouts?
master Scotland on horses and come on. And it was stupid. Like that was a stupid move, like strategically. I don't gonna talk about how the how the episode was shot, like with the poor lightning and everything. But that was a very, very, very bad thing to do strategically, and I think that was when the whole problems afterwards started to first appear.
Yeah, yeah, but definitely we're right that it's episode 3. It's just that all the episodes that we watched for both of us started to blend together. Everything passed so fast, so that's why we couldn't quite pin that on, but it's definitely episode 3. So yeah, a lot of things that could have been written a lot better, and some of the choices for some of the characters that were made through the writing were just so ridiculous and idiotic that it's just unbelievable. I mean, I thought that I was watching first time writers just finish school or something, and they just took a piece of paper and wrote lolly dolly da da da. Something like that's just so stupid. Like what happened to I don't want to skip everything, but what happened to the whole character arc of Daenerys here is just ridiculous. She's completely wasted for me.
Yeah,
She was built up the whole show, and in the end, in 2 episodes, she turned into a complete maniac that was absolutely delusional and was talking like crazy things like, I'm the only one that is right. Everybody are
yeah.
gonna learn.
Well, like let's just if I can, if I may actually put in my 2 cents into this. We talked about this with you before, like over chat. Sure, yeah, her character was basically destroyed. That's true. She was absolutely destroyed, and everything that was building up the past 7 seasons was swiped away. But like I was first talking with a friend of mine about the realistics of what's happening, and when the bells ring in King's Landing, and you can see actually her expression, how it changes, how it becomes even more like mad, and you have the music build up and everything. This is basically if you read battles of like ancient times and everything in medieval times, this is just like the bloodlust that has been building up when during battle. And basically it was very realistic. That's actually something if I disconnect myself that this is a character that has been destroyed, it was a very realistic portrayal of what bloodlust during battle looks like, which I kind of actually liked, but it's not something that saves the show. I just like the individual moment because I actually got a bit disconnected from after episode 3. I actually didn't just give a damn anymore because after episode 3, after the Night King died, I was just like, well, what the frig? I'm not. I'm actually gonna try not swear because if I swear, I'm gonna get even more mad.
Yeah. Well, I understand that about the bloodlust and everything, but that is not her first battle. That is not her first, you know.
Yeah,
So, and like Tyrion warned her like 500 times, if the bell ring, we have to stop. They surrendered. It was obvious for her because she can also see it, from the top that nobody's fighting anymore. They lay down their swords. Everything was won, and she could just go to Cersei and just kill her, like directly. And she
yeah,
went.
she goes full genocide, like, which is, first of all, okay, as I mentioned, bloodlust. She just wants to she has pent up rage. Okay, that's something that can happen during war, and there are records of it. But as I also said, it doesn't save the show. It doesn't save the character. It doesn't actually do the character good, or in any case, just absolves them from what they have been building up for 7 seasons. That's 7 seasons. That's not a season. That's not something you can just brush off. First of
Yeah.
all, and on that note, I just want to mention 6 episodes. Like I saw in the comments, 6 episodes for a final season. Like for a conclusion, this is absolute bullcrap. Like this is I don't know what D&D were thinking, but I'm sure they will go down in the books as worst thing that can happen to a beloved show, because this show is like number one.
Yeah.
For years it has been number one on any network, on all the charts. It has won multiple like records, and in watch time, in audiences, in just fan service, in just fans being fans. And it did such a disservice, and it had a long time between season 7 and season 8, so they had
2 years.
fucking long sorry, just so long to do it right. Even another season would have been actually better. Like, this was not something you can finish in one season for me. Or if you want to make it in one season, at least make it 10 episodes at least.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing is that although, yeah, I do think that what did with Daenerys is extremely, destroyed her character, made her just a simple mad person and nothing more, just somebody that is fixated on power and control and nothing more again. It just destroyed her values and, everything that makes her character what she is, everything that made people name their children in real life Daenerys, which I'm
Oh,
pretty sure
I'm
that
not
they're
my
thinking.
father.
They're
I am
thinking
not my
now. Oh my God, what I'm going to do? I just named my kid Daenerys. Damn it! But the point is that the real point here is that even if I don't like or don't agree with what they did with Daenerys, if they took time, as you said, to build up the season, even another season, if they made this storyline to make sense, everything's going to be okay. We are going to be like, okay, this makes sense for her character. It has logic to it. It has logic to the whole series and how everything, all the events that led up to this. And example for this is the first seasons, how Ned died, how the blood wedding,
The
one
Red
of the
Wedding, yeah.
red wedding, yes, one of the most shocking things ever happened on television, in a TV series. But everything that happened there, although it was so terrible, had a lot of things that just led up to those kind of events. Starks were very trusting. They didn't even I didn't watch out what they're doing really. Like I've starting to forget their names now because that was so many years ago. But Ned Stark's oldest son, he decided to marry this woman he was not supposed to. He angered, you know, the terrible, I don't know what,
Yeah.
the ones that Arya cooked. That family
Wait. Yeah, that was very long
a
time
very
ago.
long time ago. Yeah, the point is that they all trusted, and Ned was very trusting. He went to King's Landing. He talked to Cersei. He was trying to be honest, but she turned that against him. So everything made sense. That's the point. That whatever happened to in Game of Thrones, like in the first 3, 4, 5 seasons. Uh, uh, yeah, pretty much to the seventh season. I mean, after the last season, I don't really have a lot of complaints about that season. Really, I know some people did about some things, but it was
You mean
never to
about
that
season
extent.
7? You're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, not
season seven.
okay. Yeah.
I mean that everything in Game of Thrones. Although, we before this show, before we had Game of Thrones, we didn't. I mean, we never seen something like this. So shocking. But it was not shocking. Just like for the sake of the shock, it made a lot of sense. So we were like,
Yeah, because you had build up.
yeah, you have very good writing. You have very good laid out of the story. So if it makes sense, you can accept it. Although you don't like what's happening to your favorite characters, and all of that, they're dying, and but you're like glued to the show. You love it because it makes sense. It has some meaning to it. But now nothing makes freaking sense in this season. Nothing is earned. Like the word is definitely that. And especially what they did to Danny is just, I don't know how to say it, like something like a TV show writing crime, or it really is. It's like a
For
bull of
me,
crap.
it's not so much surprising to watch Daenerys fall into madness as again what you said with the pacing, with how fast it happened. Like I would have actually loved to see that, to see all the events that happened in season 8 just stretched out, so you have a little bit of a context. Like
Yeah,
if we had, let's say, an episode, like let's say a whole episode when you show on and off how she's battling, let's say, the death of Missandei, and she's just like you can see it slowly building up inside of it, the madness, the everyone must die, I must cleanse this world, I'm not my father, you know and you just but it's just like an on and off switch. Turn madness on, it's just like a Targaryen thing, just, oh, press here to switch madness on, and you just so
yeah,
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 which is
and
which actually, if I may jump to the last episode, would have been fine if she actually snapped out of it and saw what she has done with this pacing. Snap to madness
mm-hmm.
during episode 5, and episode 6 just like her watching all the rubble that she has destroyed, and just uh like having remorse, having like just, what have I done? That
Yeah,
would actually have been a good, better ending. Just like, I have done that like my father. You know,
yeah. Yeah, but nothing like that happened, and not only that, but when John confronted her, she was like, "Oh, John, but this I will be that, and this, and you know it too, the truth." I'm like, "What?" John is like yelling at you, "What have you done?" And you're like, ah, that's ridiculous. That's not Danny. I mean, anybody that has just a bit of a sense of anything, like common sense, even would have been like, "Oh yeah, I killed all those people, women and children." Like
everything's fine.
yeah, they're like burning corpses of little babies and kids on the street. They're like glued to the ground because they are so heavily burned. They're basically one with the ground now.
And this
Awesome.
is actually strengthened by the very first scene of the last episode, when Tyrion is just walking, and there's some PTSD, like just a disoriented naked, half burned man just walking aimlessly, and you see all the destruction. And just even before he goes to the Red Keep and finds his brother, like you see everything is over, like it is destroyed to the point of almost no reconstruction.
No, no reconstruction.
No.
Definitely. Nothing. And everything was ashes. I mean, you know how there was a vision of Daenerys walking through a big hole, and it was seeming like it's raining snow, like it's snowing, but it's
It-
actually turned out to be the ashes of the people.
yeah. And she was actually, I couldn't find out if she was fan dubbed the Queen of Ashes, because there was a fan dub, like she was named Queen of Ashes after episode 5, which is actually pretty fitting for her.
Yeah, that's exactly what she was, what she is, what they turned her into, unfortunately. And there are so many other things that didn't quite make sense. I mean, the how John was so like a zombie towards her. You know, he was seeing all those terrible things, and he's still like, "But she's our queen. But she's my queen." And I'm like, John, are you hit in the head? I mean,
Well, yeah, that was
what?
him actually having like the internal struggle that he has been having all throughout the season after learning about his name. And he was like, okay, I'm a Targaryen, I'm a rightful king of the air, but I must serve my queen. And he's like, you could see him throughout the whole season, like just bouncing on and on about what he should do, and he doesn't want to be king, and but he sees the horrible things, but he must serve the queen because he did bend the knee and everything, so he's like, something I like about Jon Snow's character in season 8 is that he actually didn't so much stray from his original character. He's very devoted to service, like he's very straightforward. He has always been like just justice and the rightful command and everything. But you see like throughout the season that he was torn apart, and you could say that he was actually written badly, but I could see, in my this is purely my opinion, that he was just battling internally, and it probably could have been done better, but I actually kind of liked how he was portrayed. And the final scene, that when he like stabbed Daenerys, this was him just doing what had to be done, like he did in the previous seasons. It just took him a little longer to realize it.
Well, you can say that, but I think that the way that they made his character being like, so many times there were so many conversations, especially the last few episodes when Varys died as well, and from Tyrion, that Daenerys is obviously going to a very bad direction, and is she the rightful queen if she's going to do this and maybe that? And he's like, no, but we have to do that. And he was like a broken record. He was repeating
Yeah,
himself so many times that it was ridiculous to his character. John is not that dumbed down, like Ivy says, that he's so dumbed down that it was
yeah,
painful to
I'm
witness.
reading it as well. Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
you could also say that. Yes, I just, like, in my point of view, it was just an internal struggle that probably they could have presented better. But I could see it, like as well as when I pointed out the bloodless thing, like it was for me very well made. I don't know if it was intentional, but it was very well done if you look at the scene separate from the season.
Well, that is exactly what bad writers do. I mean, they take something that is true or can be true in the terms that, like you said, there's something like a bloodlust in the world. There's that type of event that is possible to happen, and that there's something as the duty of a warrior and all of that. But those are just concepts. If you don't put them in the right storyline, if you don't explain them very well, if you don't build them up, if you don't create a very good base for those things to stand on, they're just gonna sink, no matter
Yes,
how
of
good
course.
they are.
Yes, like as
Yeah.
I said, that's why when I point out something like this, I just separate. As I said, separate it from the scene or the series or the episode or the season as a whole. Like on a standalone, it's a good thing to see, but that's it. Like it's a, let's say it's a good separate moment that you can separate from the whole episode, which is entirely like sunk of over the other stupid things that happen.
Yeah. Oh, and let's talk about some other things. I really thought that Tyrion is going to die. I'm really happy that he didn't. But how John storyline ended, I'm really disappointed because it turns out that he was only brought back to life so he can kill Daenerys and then just go and live with the wildlings and just has to have no other greater purpose than just to live with the wildlings in the
On
forest.
that note, I want to ask you something. Like, just the last episode. Did you feel like it was an episode that shows the ending of everything? Like
Mm,
do you see it as a series finale or season finale?
it seemed exactly like a season finale, actually, because you
Yeah,
can see how
it's not
everything's continuing.
okay. It's not a series finale because it's so open ended. Like you can go so many, even with this season, you can go so many places. You have a freaking dragon on the loose.
Yeah, you do.
You have John going north of the wall. By the way, I want to mention something about the wall. How did they rebuild it?
Ah, is that well that part
Like
where the door
it
is?
was intact. It was intact. Everything was there. How did you do it? The Night King simply destroyed that freaking thing. How did you? What? How?
Well, maybe well, they did say that several months went by, but I still don't see how that is gonna happen.
Do you see how freaking tall this thing is? Like, sorry, but nope. No. I refuse to believe that.
Well, there
Anyways,
is a huge hole in the wall. It's not the whole wall. That's why when the
it
intro
crumbled.
starts,
It crumbled like he actually used the undead dragon to just destroy this thing. Anyways, okay, that's just a side note.
yeah,
But you see John and the Wildlings going north. Where are they going? Like they're
exactly.
not in the Night's Watch castle. No, they're going north somewhere. Like there was this. I don't remember. There was this like talk about where the Night King lived. Like that they had a castle or something very up north. So basically, probably they're going there. It's still something you can explore. Arya going west of Westeros, you can actually explore.
Yeah, whatever
Bran,
that is, like imaginary place one, out of nowhere. There's another place that nobody explored. How? We know that there's nothing, I mean, after this map, they did the show, made a huge point to let us know that all those kingdoms, that's it. There's nothing more like, the only mysterious thing was exactly where the wildlings were. So whatever not Arya is going, like, what the heck is that? Like, out of nowhere, we're gonna write a new thing.
yeah. But
Like,
still,
right.
it was so open and like it was so open ended for all of the characters that I want to see another season. I want to see a full fledged season. Like, what happens next? Where does Arya go? What happens to Drogon? How does Bran do as a king? What happens to Tyrion? The Ironborn who were still on the Daenerys side. What happens to the Unsullied, to the Dothraki?
Mhm. They went to look for their penises.
Probably, and they're probably gonna grow them for some magic mushrooms or something. I don't like.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
It was so open, like it was so open ended. Yes, you see everyone just going their way to new adventures, but this is first of all, this is so Lord of the Rings, especially with the book A Song of Ice and Fire. This is so Lord of the Rings. Like this was, I think this was directly ripped and just reimagined on a hurry because
Oh,
you have the
yeah.
same thing at the end of the Return of the King.
A lot
And
of people said that that's gonna happen, so I expected Sam to bring a book. He did, so yeah, a lot of people expected that.
yeah, uh, I don't feel it as a series finale, and I'm actually hoping that they actually decide to do something more at one point, even like after 2 or 3 years.
Well, maybe if George R. R. Martin decides to finish the story his own way, I'm not sure. But we are going to have the prequel series, which is going to start like after a year, even I think,
Yeah,
year or 2 years.
I'm not very fond of those, but that's just my opinion.
I personally don't really want to watch something that is before what happened here. I mean, in Game of Thrones, because what we witnessed was always what the other story of the Song of Ice and Fire are going to lead to. So why would I want to see the beginning of it where I
I
don't
don't
even know
want to
how it's
see it
gonna end?
either. I would actually, if that's to happen, I would actually like to see the prequel story first and then Game of Thrones. That would have been better because it would be a straight timeline.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It will be way
I don't know
better.
what I don't know what people see in prequels. I really don't. I don't like it.
Yeah, it makes no sense, especially for a TV show, because you want to see how things begin, not to know how they ended, and then you watch what happened previously, and you know that the ending is going to be completely shit, and will totally destroy all meaning of most of the characters. So you're like, I don't care, just shove popcorn in my face, like I don't have any better to do, like something like that kind of a show is going to be.
There, yeah, there are gonna be a lot of people that they're gonna like it, but again, this is my personal note. I'm not gonna even try to watch it when it comes out. I want I want like I actually was going to sign the petition, but then I figured out it's meaningless because it's already over.
It's over, but you know what? This petition is very good if I mean, if more people sign it just to make a point. Yeah, I mean, they're not gonna reshoot season 8, but it's gonna make a point to the creators, which you do know that sometimes does work. That for future times, just write better, you assholes.
Yeah, but you're still not gonna get a better season 8. So
Yeah, no, but again, little things do matter, like what happened with Sonic.
Yeah, but Sonic hasn't Sonic dropped the first trailer like several weeks ago, and the outrage was so big that it took them 2 days to actually say that they're gonna redo it. So it was a matter of 2 days for something that's still in the works, so they can actually do it. This is something finished
Yeah,
that
I
people didn't see.
know.
Yeah.
I
So
know, but the point is, this is going to lay a seed for future movies, for future, for just future things. It's not going to be about Game of Thrones at all. It's just going to be how, the writers and HBO or every movie studio in the world that makes movies or TV series can see that if they really lower the quality, it's going to be noticed, and they're not supposed to fitting us with their shit. That's the point. We have to make a point for the future, not for now, because now, like I said, we can't do anything, but this stuff matters because people talk about this. People talk about how there's like 500,000 people that signed this, and it's like talked I mean, this is a topic for a few days, so those little things make a difference for something else in the future. That's what I mean.
that's well, yeah, you're right. Technically, you're right, but I don't I'm not very hopeful that something like this will be noticed because I'm just gonna insert the Batwoman thing in here,
Oh, no, no.
and that's gonna no, I'm not gonna no, that's not gonna turn into a Batwoman discussion because that's a whole different cookie that we want to eat.
You have to be here the whole night.
No, yeah. In any case, I want to talk about something that because as I said in the beginning, I actually kind of liked the episode in itself. Like it was nicely made. It was well paced. I have actually no comments on the episode itself. Like if I separate it from the season, it's done nicely. Like the Great Council meeting was very nice. Tyrion's speech was nice. Bran is someone that I have actually said in the past that is probably he's gonna go there and sit in the and in the end. I have said that several times in the past, like season 5, season 6, that I was having discussions with a friend of mine, and it turns out it's him. I didn't actually expect that they would actually go through with it, but I'm happy because Tyrion, the point Tyrion made, why Bran should be there, it was very nice. I actually very much liked it, how he described it and what points he made for Bran being the king. That's something I very much liked.
Hmm. Just to say that Ivy reminded us, I mean, he updated us that 1.5 million people is going to be soon the count of the petition. Yeah,
Nice.
and as he said, it's about making a statement. Yes. So about Bran, I'm still arguing with myself about this because he said something about that he doesn't want to be king, but he has to be. And then in the previous episodes, he said, "I don't want anything." I mean, he can't want. He's like neutral to everything.
Which actually makes him better. Like if you think about it, like he doesn't want to be king, but he'll take on the responsibility. He doesn't have any aspirations to what he would do for himself with the power. Like Daenerys wants to take over the world, Cersei wants to protect her children and take over the world. Jon Snow would be the next candidate because he doesn't want to. He would be responsible. Like giving the power to someone who can do it but doesn't necessarily want to do it is for me better in this universe of Game of Thrones, because we have seen what happens with when people who want power take power.
That yeah, of course. I mean, it's nice to have somebody that that's gonna do some kind of a decent job because he's also the three-eyed raven, so he's going to
Exactly.
see some of the things that they're gonna happen. But I'm not sure he looks so much like vegetable. He's not using his powers. He could control. He could have controlled Drogon. He could have do so many things, but he just didn't. He just did nothing. He expected everybody to be in their supposed places so they can do their thing, like for instance what he said to John, and he was at the right place at the right time killing the
Yeah, but
nearest here.
now you're talking about the season as a whole. Like he didn't use his powers on Drogon or anything. He was completely useless. But as I wanted to discuss it with you as an episode on its own. Like the decision that was made was purely on what would Bran do as a king. He would not be a warmonger. He would not be a slaver. He would not be a like oppressor. He would just be the one with the knowledge. He has the knowledge, so he knows what has happened before, and he knows all the mistakes that have been done by previous kings of every kingdom, and he's not gonna make them. He has learned. He knows everything, and he has learned from it, so he's not gonna make the mistakes because he knows the consequences of every mistake that every king and queen has done before. So he's basically, in that regard, he's perfect.
Yeah, but there's the thing. I mean, people like that, like him, they would never be in such a role just because of their nature. I mean, it's so uncommon for a person that has some kind of a clairvoyancy to be in such a place. They're always like the advisors, the oracles. They're not the person that is in charge. Maybe it does make sense from that standpoint, but they were also kind of very mushy on his abilities. Sometimes he
Yeah.
says that he can't see everything, just different turn of events or something like that. I just want to bring something that Ivy says. Brown as king, I would have bought it if they had given us more information. Yeah, exactly. Actually, what
Basically,
I was trying
yes.
to say. When did he realize that he has to become king? How does it affect the three-eyed raven plot? And what's the purpose of it? Yes, exactly, because the three-eyed raven is such a mysterious, person, somebody that has these powers for a particular reason, basically to counter the Night King's, uh, you know, uh, power. I mean, to be a force that is like an opposite to the Night King,
Yes.
first of all. And also, he says, and exactly, he can know everything. Yeah, he can affect the past. We never really learn anything about how, why, and for what he has these powers.
Yeah, that was a
Um,
very poor presentation of his powers because we know that he has formidable powers. He has shown them. Like,
Kitty!
uh, yeah, it's a phrase. Just yeah.
It's a
Anyways,
fluffy.
this is a scribut. Uh,
It's so cute.
so, like, we know Bran has. Wait, sorry. Okay, you should not be here.
Well, she wants to say something about the dragon.
She wants to meow about the dragons. Uh, so we know to some extent what his powers are. First of all, like he can work into different animals, but he can also affect the past, as you said. Yeah. Yes, yes, the cat was promised. uh,
Uh,
okay, let me just finish up real quickly. He effectively affected his own past, like when he became the Three-Eyed Raven, he made his past to lead to this moment when Hodor was holding the door. How badass is that?
are you sure? I mean, is that?
Don't you remember? He actually worked into his past, like when while he was watching Hodor having the stroke and hold the door.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was him or the original Three-Eyed Raven that actually altered the events like that, but from what I got from the episode, I think he altered them. Like he gave him the seizure in the past from the present, so he can be Holder in the present and hold the door. Like,
Ah,
God
yeah.
damn, that's godlike stuff right here. Like he's literally God. Like I was like so shocked about that. Uh,
Well, that's one
and from
power.
that point on, nothing. Like, okay, I can work into ravens.
Yeah, and he did nothing with the ravens as well in the previous episode when he tried to fly towards the Night
Yeah,
King.
he
He
was
did
just
nothing with that.
yeah. Like, why not work into dragons or try to work into the undead dragon? Like, I would actually love to have something of a mental battle between him and the Night King, because we also know that the Night King can influence like the minds and the realities. Like when he was searching for him when he was being trained by the original Three-Eyed Raven, and the Night King touched him and left his
Mhm.
mark on him. Like that leads to another thing: the underdevelopment of the Night King himself. We never learned anything.
Yeah,
Who was
absolutely.
he? Like we know how he looked. We know that he commands an army. We know his general. We know nothing about them.
Yeah, we only know that the people of the forest created the White Walkers for protection. Although, how can they create something for protection if they didn't knew how it's going to turn out? That it's something that's completely uncontrollable and it has its mind of its own in the sense that it
Yeah.
has an agenda that strictly follows like a robot. So I mean the children of the forest seem very like wise ancient creatures. So creating the Night King and the White Walkers in the first place seems very completely responsible, idiotic, and I don't know what. It's just not explained at all. And there's a lot of things that were not explained at all in this past season as well, like Varys writing emails. you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and
All
trying
the
to poison
yeah.
Daenerys, and he was acting so openly, so to speak. I mean, he's not his usual
No, that
sneaky
was a
self.
complete ruining of a character if I've ever saw one.
He's
Like,
like, I have a 5 minutes only, I mean, figuratively,
no,
to
let me
do
just finish
something
up.
about Daenerys, and then I'm gonna die probably. Like, what? You're much smarter than this. Like, really? Much smarter. And, oh, let's see what Ivy says. Uh, Yeah, the vision. Yeah, that was one of the smartest things. I mean, most interesting things about the whole series. That thing with Hodor, actually, most memorable thing. Um, okay, he's agreeing with you. Yeah, we never get into Bran's head, especially the last season. He's like watching the distance, like, and that's it. Just empty, empty. Look, there should be memes somewhere about the Night King being like this and Bran
There
being
are a
like this.
lot of memes like that. Trust me.
You
Like
know, like
what
as
what
vegetable.
what I wanted to like. There was this theory. There was this amazing theory that first of all the Night King is a Targaryen, and second that Bran is somehow the Night King.
Yeah, I know about
Like
that.
yeah, those theories were actually awesome, and I like them. But even though without them, like I was so hoping that they would bring an epic conclusion to the fight with the dead, because with like with the White Walkers and everything, and it ended in 3 episodes, and it ended in an epic. Like Arya was OP then, which is I support that, but like, and
Mm.
now what do we do for the next 3 episodes? We fight each other.
Yay! Well, a very
How?
good point that I watched was about Arya. I mean, I love Arya in the terms that I love how badass she is, the sneaky assassin part of her. That's awesome and all, and she really fought straight on with her new weapon and all of that. Okay, that's awesome and good. But the thing is that they never, the Night King and her never had any kind of a story together to build up to this end or any kind of connection to both characters. So, a lot of other characters had a lot more reason to fight with the Night King, which is going to be a lot more exciting, like John, for instance, with his sword, or I don't know who, like, it's on top of my head, but Arya didn't have any connection to him as a character, and all of a sudden she just kills him like that, and he's like, oh,
Yeah, I'm dead.
yeah, I'm
So
dead.
that's it. That's what my tale and the biggest threat to the world ended like that. Like, come on.
Yeah, they could have, this fight with the White Walkers could have gone to King's Landing, then, something. I mean, his blood and Cersei's blood could have been resolved, like somehow together, two birds with one stone, or something like that. Something else could have been like revealed. This could be going throughout at least almost the final episode, because they're doing so much job even with the intro of the series, how the eyes is closing and closing, like a lot of
Yeah.
bricks that are creating each other, like ta, 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 ta. It's so interesting. They have this huge buildup about all of this. All of that is connected to the Night King, but at the end, uh that's it. All the Night Walkers, all the generals, by the way, that were there, they're like, oh, a breeze. Oh, we're dead.
Yeah. What I was actually what and a lot of people are actually thinking about season 8 is that when they were like building up to only 6 episodes, they basically threw away consistency and development for shock value, because if you look at it, there are a lot of shock value elements in season 8. Like there were so many shock value elements that you can actually see the previous episodes and they have a lot less in total. Like you have Daenerys, you have the Night King, you have uh, Jamie returning to his sister. Shock, like little shock values that were just meant to go go in what the fuck, you know why did this happen, and they went for that just to shock you as a viewer. And what I actually liked about the last episode is that I'm watching it and I wasn't surprised at anything. Like there were no surprise. Like John killing Daenerys, I was pretty much expected it.
Yeah. And this is like a classical way to do it. I mean, we see it in other series and movies, like two person. I mean, I personally saw that in Xena, which was like 500 years ago. So it was done a long time ago. You know, somebody stabs another person and they're both like, because, you know, the first one did it and it's shocked, and the other one is actually the stab one.
Yeah,
So you wonder for like 2 seconds who is actually the one that's being stabbed here. And when one of those start to go down, then you realize who it is, and that's the same thing that they
yeah.
did.
Basically,
So
it was pretty classic, and it had no surprises. Almost no surprises. Like a little bit here and there, but nothing so generous throughout the whole season. And this is actually pretty much what I like because it actually had development. Like last episode had proper development of the events that unfolded. You had Tyrion being imprisoned, you had Jon doing like killing Daenerys, he being imprisoned, and then you had a proper development of the character, like him, Tyrion going on trial, speaking, being released, everyone being sent their own way. This is pretty much standard episode, like a standard TV show episode that unfolds just like you would expect it. And it was the best of the whole season, which is
yeah.
funny, which is funny for a show like Game of Thrones, which is remembered by the Red Wedding.
Yeah, but you see, I personally cannot see this last episode as any kind of a good, just because I lost all the connection, all the everything is meaningless, now, and
Yes.
I can't see anything is good anymore because, you know, it's like you presented me with a very awesome phone, but on the surface, but inside is has the hardware of iPhone 1, for
Yeah,
instance.
yeah, yeah, you're right. It wasn't a good season. It wasn't an even like an acceptable season, and especially being the last season, this was absolutely horrible as a
Mhm.
season and as an episode. But again, talking as an episode on its own, like just cutting it away from the season, this was. If I have to say which episode was good from the whole season, this was a good episode of a horrible season.
I don't know. I was kind of bored, to be honest, especially Tyrion pushing the chairs. Like, how much time is this is going to take in there, sitting down, talking boring stuff
That was
on the
actually funny.
table?
That's actually
Yeah, I
funny because
know.
they
Like,
actually came and just they just come on, don't do it, please. That was a
so
funny scene.
To this point, I'm so, numb that even that I would find it charming any other, turn of events. But now I'm just like, what are you trying to do? You already spit on everything. I love,
Yeah,
like, people were doing winter is coming t-shirts for years, you guys, and with the Iron Throne. Now there is no Iron Throne, which I get, actually, that point I get, but I'm just saying that is something else that people were building up for so many years. Now there is no Iron Throne. I did get why Drogon decided to melt it down, and it makes sense in terms of not I mean, like, symbolic. It's symbolic because all that is the evil of Targaryen, that this throne represents exactly all of that lust for power, all of
basically
those
yes.
atrocities, all of that violence to get to that throne, to get to that type of rule. So it's perfectly like poetic justice, so to speak, to destroy the throne. So okay, I can say that is fine, but just because a lot of things here has um, you know, lined up on top of each other, stacked up, so to speak, bad things. Even that I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense, but to this point, it's kind of like nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore, because when they try to make one thing to matter and to make sense, it just kind of devalued from everything else that happened just now and previously. So yeah.
You're absolutely correct. Like in the general speaking, in the season speaking, in the whole events, in the whole theme of what has happened before, this episode is just uh, like stitch, like a patch on a wound. But you're patching a burned victim with 95% burns with let's say, uh, just some cotton and some water. You don't do anything good. You're just trying to simulate some work. But because I'm actually capable of seeing everything good about the season, because I just stopped giving a frig after episode 3. After the Night King died, the show died. Like, this was for me throughout the whole show. This was for me the big baddie. And the buildup was so amazing throughout the episodes. Just showing him standing, and every person in the audience was like, "What he's going to do? Oh my god, he's so terrifying!" He didn't do anything. He turned the baby into a White Walker in season 2, I think.
Yeah,
And that was it. And then when he was standing and just walking around on his undead horse.
yeah, great.
That's it. And he was still the most terrifying thing you would see the whole show. And the buildup was so perfect. It was perfect, like up to the last season. It was perfect. And then they just go and like they go full diarrhea on everything.
That's a good analogy there.
It was like I was like, yes, I know they were going for shock value just to blow all of your expectations away, but there was the meme. I'm gonna use the meme now to explain. We wanted to shock the fans, so we killed the show.
Yeah, that's actually absolutely correct. And again, I will add that shock value is all well and good where when it has a very good substance to back it up. When it doesn't, it just doesn't mean anything, and you're like, this happened. Who cares? And like even like Daenerys died. I mean, when she was stabbed, she like immediately just died, and she was a corpse in 2 seconds. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't get to say anything. She just was like what? Like do something about it. Like have a conversation. No, she just a corpse immediately.
I would have actually liked if he backstabbed her or chopped her head off or something.
And that's gonna be totally out of John's character, I think. I mean, he's been out of character this whole time, but I mean, that's going to be like too cruel, considering that he didn't, stood against what she did, all the cruelty, and now all of a sudden he's been like, I'm just gonna chop her head off. I mean, he did love her. It was like blind love, but he did love her. I mean, that feeling was there. It was
but still,
present.
like if we're gonna finish it on a shock value, like just beheading her from the back, it would be like at least more shocking,
It's shocking, but again, it's going to be too disrespectful towards her, and he's not that kind of a person.
The whole season has been disrespectful to everyone. You're not gonna be like, you're not gonna surprise anyone at this point.
Well, how can you imagine John being like with the sword, just like walking behind her and chopping her head off? Does that make any
I couldn't
sense?
imagine Tyrion being a dumbass or Varys being the biggest idiot, like being dumber than Hodor in the last season. But it happened, right? I couldn't imagine the biggest bad thing, OP god-like Frost King thingy with spikes and deathly stares being killed by a little girl, even when guarded by 12 generals. But it happened,
They're
it
just so
happened.
full of themselves that they can't sense her.
Yeah, it happened. Things happened. We are shocked.
I know. My point is that if that were to happen, I think that is going to be another type of stupid, and they are going for a particular type of stupid. It's a different type of stupid.
The point is, I was actually half joking, but yeah, I would actually I would have loved a bit of a more epic exchange before he killed her.
Yeah, that would be better than just oh, I'm stabbed. Oh, goodbye.
But you loved me.
Oh,
yes,
you know what?
I loved you.
Oh, you know what? I would love to see parodies on this. There's so much material for good parodies. Like, she dying like 5 minutes and be like, oh, what happened here?
Wait,
I don't know.
let me go on 9gag real quick.
I'm pretty sure there are some parodies
Oh
already.
yeah.
Haven't seen them yet.
Okay. Wait. Jamie Lannister's Kingslayer level is so high he tried to kill the king 8 seasons ago. That's nice.
You have to send me something on Facebook if you find.
Wait, I'm just gonna send it right now. Like this is actually pretty good. He tried to kill. Okay, Jamie Lannister is hipster Kingslayer because he tried to kill the king before it was cool.
Yeah. But by the way, Ivy says yes. I hope that at least Danny's death would be more dramatic. It was finished in seconds, and then she was cast away in fast delivery to somewhere. Yeah, yeah, delivered to another secret dragon somewhere, or maybe she's going to be buried by the dragon, and from that, 3 eggs are going to be born. I don't know. I was actually thinking that for real when I saw the dragon, took her away. Like, well, what he's going to do? Like, mourn her on some rock on a mountaintop or what?
Yeah. There's one more. I'm just gonna read one more. Sir Davos developing from an illiterate man to someone who corrects other people's grammar is probably the only valid character development in this series.
Yeah, actually, so that was really developed, and he always makes good points.
Yeah, like even in the Grand Council in the episode 6, he was the one who calmed everyone down. He was like, "We've had enough bloodshed." Like he's amazing. He was always amazing.
Yeah, well, I don't really have time, but I'm gonna say like a few last things. If you like, you can prepare your last things.
Yeah.
So first, I want to say what I did like. I did like what happened to Sansa, and then she's going to rule. You know, mm, um, why it skipped my head?
Winterfell.
Winterfell on her own. She did had amazing armor to wear. That was so cool to see. So I do love that. I mean, why the hell not? She's one of the last, of the Starks, and she does deserve this. So why not? Yeah, let her rule. Let her, Winterfell be independent and all of that. And Ira going to a place that we just heard. That's I just couldn't care less. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting storyline for for a sequel, which we probably will not get even in a few years. We cannot be sure. I'm just saying that there's no plans for that currently. So yeah, let's assume that we're not going to get anything like that. This is just very open, and um, I'm not sure it's right for her. But what can you do? I mean, you can either kill her or just go her and discover the world, because she's not the type of girl that's just gonna settle down on, especially that young, and just go and marry Sir Baratheon. So okay, that's fine. It's not something that is it's like too much to criticize. Something else that I like how Brianna's alive, and she's one of those people that the nobleman now, and Podrick even. That's cool. I mean, a lot of characters that we like, but we don't really care that much about. They got their there are people that we actually care about, and their stories are much more important. They're like written so poorly, so that's one other parallel that I was thinking while watching it. And Sam being the maester, of course. What else could he be? Like bringing the book, that's fine. Okay, it's like fan service basically. Brown being the vegetable, just gonna be pushed everywhere. So many memes about that, and so many parodies that could be done about that as well. Just because it's just unusual for this kind of a character again to be a king, not because he's in a wheelchair, just because of his nature that we're not even sure what the hell that is. But anyways, and I forgot to say that Cersei and how Jamie died, their story just wasted away. So such a build up for Cersei as a
Yeah.
queen, such a build up for Jamie, and how he was redeeming himself. Obviously, then he decides that he can overcome his addiction to Cersei, so he's just going to go and die with her. Instead of having some kind of a one-on-one with Danny, Cersei and Danny, maybe something like Jamie trying to kill Daenerys from the back, something else happening. Instead we got this fight with that disgusting Greyjoy guy, and he was like, I am the person that killed Jamie Lannister. Like, that's so stupid. Like, who says that? You are just a prick. That his value system is like, who has the bigger dick, kind of a value system. It's just so stupid. So that's one thing, and something else. I just can't think about something else. So yeah, yeah, it's endless.
Yeah. Well, so if we're talking strictly about the last episode, I really enjoyed, as I said, how everything, like how it ended, even though I don't see it as a series finale. I like John being in the Night's Watch again for a very specific reason. He never wanted to be king, he never wanted to rule or anything. He just wanted to be someone, like not the very great one. He just didn't want to be the bastard, and he accepted the free folk, like the on the north, and he was the Night King's commander, and he became what he was like most. I think most comfortable with being throughout the series, like what he was then. I liked Arya. Like, she was always a traveler. She doesn't really have anything to do with the others. Like, what is she going to do there? Like, sit and give advice? Nope. Or go with Podrick, and like winter came and so did she. Like, you know the meme. So she goes to travel, which is nice, which is a potential spin-off on Arya, which is I would probably watch. I liked such as you, Brian, which is a very nice development to her. She was a knight, and now she's a commander of the guard. Bran as a king, we already discussed. I love how the Unsullied they're free. They're not under anyone's command now again, n- except for their own, which is nice. I actually loved seeing them free. And basically it's a nice wrap up as an episode, but the season as a whole, like, it doesn't go well. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't
you
go
you
anywhere.
can you can have a final good episode to cover for all the inconsistencies, if that's the most polite thing I can actually say, inconsistencies of the whole season. It was so rushed, it was so underdeveloped, it was so trashing on everyone, like on all the characters that you love and like, and you know how they developed for 7 seasons before that, and it was just destroyed.
Yeah, and
And you can't fix that, not in an episode. You cannot fix that in a season. it,
yeah.
it shouldn't be there in the first place. But in any case, good final episode, very bad final season. That's my review.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that although the Unsullied sailed to Island, which is literally deadly to foreigners due to butterfly disease. That's very weird. Like, where is that? Another
What?
place that we don't know about? If that's the case, that's another plot hole for some reason. Sant is here, by the way.
Hello.
Yeah, so that is it, guys. I really don't have any more seconds to spare. Like, really, tomorrow I have to get up even more early. So I don't know how I'm gonna do that. But anyways, that is
You
all that
won't
we
sleep.
could. Yeah, I'm gonna try to, by the way. So that is what we can say for now. I'm not sure if we are going to have like further discussions. Maybe some kind of a huge news comes out about Game of Thrones, but if not, just continue to the next thing, as they say, and just reading what is left. Yeah,
Oh,
it's going to
23
say,
red techno.
yeah. Hey, William. He says yes. What together? What the fuck?
Yeah. just WTF all the way.
Yeah, thanks, Ivy. Yeah, just instead of writing the end, to the Game of Thrones saga, if you imagine a book, just write what the fuck at the end instead of yeah.
Yeah,
It's going
that's
to be
actually
very good.
a very big like Game of Thrones, amazing, and a what the fuck happened.
Exactly, it's going to be left in the storybooks as one of the huge or maybe the biggest series finale epic fail that there ever was.
And
So
the biggest meme creators in like for a decade.
yeah, it's just perfect memes. They're just so hilarious.
Yeah.
Amazing material for comedy. So there's that. And I would actually love to see Cersei, just reviving herself with an elephant on her shoulder. That's the funniest thing ever.
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing actually.
Yeah. Maybe in a how should have ended if they are doing series. I don't know. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, guys. So thank you very much to Hazel. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments as well. And for those of you that are going to see this, record, you can always see the chat, the live chat again, repeated. It works in most browsers. So yeah, that's that. Thank you and good night with Mikirichi Reviews. Bye, guys.
Yes, from me as well. Good night, people.